We are going to start section C of paper 2, which is social changes in India. Now the topic that is to be covered or discussed on 7th of April 8 p.m. is the first subtopic, which is visions of social change in India. So here it is, section C, social changes in India, and the first subtopic is visions of social change in India. Now it is divided into three parts, A, B and C. So when you look at this differentiation, this classification, you will find that the vision for any country, any nation, any community, it depends on, or it stands on three pillars. First one is economy, second one is law or government, and third one is education. So if you look at the syllabus, you will find that the first part is idea of development planning and mixed economy. Second one is constitution, law and social change, and third one is education and social change. So this is economy, development planning and mixed economy. Here it is constitution, law and social change, which is government or law, judiciary, and the third one is education, which is the bedrock of any society, and social change. So these are the subtopics or topics that we are going to study or look at. Now we will be studying or discussing, let's say we start with development planning and mixed economy. Now you should know the definitions of development planning and mixed economy. What is the definition? What do you understand by planning? Why it is known as development planning? And what is its relationship with India as a developing economy? Remember, it was first a third world nation when it got independent or it got decolonized. And why we opted for a mixed economy? Why did we not go for a capitalist economy or a socialist economy? Why did we opt for a mixed economy? These are the questions that you should be knowing, and you would also be covering in GS. Then we have questions about government initiatives, especially in the banking finance sector, like demonetization. What happens when such initiatives are brought in an economy? What is the effect on the labor? What is the effect on the informal sort of organization? What is its effect on gender? This you should brainstorm. Similarly, what about the 5-year plans? What about Niti Aayog? So what has this transition brought? Is it good? Is it bad? What are the pros and cons? What is the future? What does the future look like? Or do we need another setup of or another set of reforms? Does our economy need another set of reforms? You should know this. Then we have Ppp models. How does it create different classes? How does it create a class of businessmen or capitalists? How does it create a section of workers? And then we also have tribals who are deprived of their land when such projects are set up. What happens in globalization of the economy? What happens in the world trade? What happens in foreign trade? What happens when there is investment or divestment? That means some shares are taken away from the company and suddenly what happens? It becomes privatized. Or what happens when an industry is nationalized? What is the difference? This you should know. What happens when there is outsourcing? What happens when people go or migrate or they go to other places in search of jobs? What happens when people come here for cheap labor? When MNCs are set up, multinationals, corporations are set up, what happens? Is globalization a sign of modernization, westernization? What happens when globalization happens? What all changes does an economy take place, or what changes happen? How does an economy evolve, or how does it grow? Will we ever be a developed economy? These are the questions that should come in your mind. Then what about technology? How does it create a digital gap? What about network society? What do the postmodernists say? What do the critical theorists say about this network society? Is this a risk society? What does this say about our economy? What about consumerism? What about hyper consumerism? What about promotion, advertisements? What about different classes? What is its effect on especially the middle class, which is the major consumer of these capitalist goods? What about urbanization? What about urban planning? What about different schemes? How do these schemes perform? What is the grading scale, you can say? How will they fare, or how will they perform in the audit? What about their implementation, their issues? And because we have a mixed economy, what kind of paradox take place? We have capitalist, which is a profit motive, and we also have traces of socialism, that means welfare state. So how does state manage or walk on this rope? How does it manage with different kinds of people, different sections of society? How does it ensure that there is balance? So what does Marx say? How does it fit in there? What does Giddens say about globalization? What does Yogendra Singh say about modernization? What about cultural lag? Because whenever such changes take place in an economy, there is always one section which resists change, there is one section which is pro-changer. So what do we say about this cultural lag? Are people resistant or acceptant? How do M.N. Srinivas, A.R. Desai, they see this social change? What about social mobility? What about Sanskritization? Does change in economy lead to such kind of changes? For example, A.R. Desai, for him, any tradition was based, or it was related to the economy of a society. So what happens to the tradition, the culture of a society? With change in economy, we have the market oriented economy. And what happens? The civil servant, he or she becomes a facilitator, or even the state becomes a facilitator, or only a catalyst in this change, an accelerator in this change. So when we are going to discuss on paper 2, section C 1A, which is idea of development planning and mixed economy, I would like each one of you who is going to participate in the discussion to be prepared. The discussion will be on 7th of April at 8 p.m. on group voice chat, and it will be on decipher sociology. It should not be a one-way interaction. I would like the members to participate and not merely be spectators or audience or hearers only. So please be prepared with this session. Go through this video again if you have not understood. Go through the syllabus and go through your study material. All the best. Happy learning.